Okay, so first looking at this file I've got in AutoCAD, that's a survey that was drawn by a surveyor in AutoCAD, so I know it's the right scale and I know it has all the lines and everything drawn in the way I want them. So if you're lucky enough to have something like that, then you can just bring that straight into Revit. But if you don't, and I'm assuming, does anyone have a survey, an AutoCAD survey? No one? No, you'd be very lucky to get that. But really, that's what you're trying to achieve. So to create something similar, I'm going to make a new file, just a new drawing file, AutoCAD ISO for the template, open, and then I'm going to insert a copy of that area. So I'll just show you again. So this is my site, and I know exactly where that is in St Leonard's. So the street address I don't think is there, but it's Pacific Highway in St Leonard's. So let's get the Google Maps of it. Alright, so just go in Google. Go to Maps. And going to the site. Okay, so St Leonard's, here we are, around here somewhere, this highway. So there is the turn, and there is my site. Okay, so it's this corner here actually. Okay, so if you don't know your area so well, it's not hard to search for the address. So I'm just going to wait a minute for that to give me the detail. It's still not quite there, but there we are. So that I think's got all the detail, and also if you go to a satellite view, that'll give you even more. So again, that's the site I'm going to use today, and so again I'm just going to get a view that I'm happy with, that I can hopefully start projecting off. So that I think has everything I need. I'll just check quickly. Yeah, so that basically should be. Why do I use this one? Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. So I forget they demolished one of these buildings just after I worked on this, and I do. Revit Street, that's right. Yeah, that is, okay, so it's this one here, sorry. Alright, so that's the image I want. That's a control print screen. Print screen on its own is usually going to work, but control print screen will give you the current window, I think it is. And alt print screen and shift print screen do slightly different things, so just make sure you know about the different options when you need to use those things. And then a good way of then grabbing that thing you've captured is to use Paint. Photoshop is okay as well, but Paint gives you some pretty handy options. So here I can just go to Paste, and there's my image. You can crop it here if you like. So I'll use the Select tool to grab the area here that I want. So I don't need the whole thing, just need part of it. So I'm just going to make a window over that, and then crop, and I'll save that as a JPEG. Okay, so I'm just going to call this again, the location. Right, so once you've inserted the image into AutoCAD, then you'll see the size. So under Insert now, if I go to Attach, and then find that file, again, turn these options for insertion point and scale off, probably to begin with. So it just comes in at its raw actual size. Then I'm going to double click with the wheel so it does zoom to fit and I can see the whole thing and make sure it's what I want. Okay, so then you need to use some judgment. Now, actually I should have grabbed the scale because that would have been on the other image, so I might just reinsert this one because I think I chopped that off. I was thinking I've got the drawing anyway, so I could measure off things on this site to get the size. But again, because you won't have the drawing, see, I've got the AutoCAD drawing I can compare to, but again, you won't have that, so I'll just go back into Paint. Okay, let's just undo, so it's got the original image back, and I'll zoom out a bit. Okay, so zooming in Paint, it should be just down here, there we are. Okay, so you can see the scale there, so that'll be a useful thing to keep, so I might just select this again, and make sure that's part of it. Again, crop, save as, JPEG, replace it. Okay, it's got an error there, but that's fine, I can just save it with a new name. And then just reinsert. Okay, so attach and exactly the same. Okay, so now we have that scale that I can use to check my measurements. Alright, so with the distance tool, I'm going to measure from the centre of the line. Now, this might seem like a little thing. I've written a massive essay on this, and I know an architect who did basically his whole thesis on this, where to measure on the line. And so anyhow, just to get you thinking about that, in this case, the centre to the centre is where you should measure. So from the centre here to the centre on the other end, not from the inside there to the inside or anything like that. And any little errors here are going to be magnified, so you want to be as accurate as you can. So here, if I measure going the other way, here I'd go from the centre here of this line to the centre of the first line on the other side. So again, to the centre there, and you can see that's giving me basically the same measurement, 21.5, yep. Okay, so F2 in AutoCAD, if you don't know, that's a shortcut to bring up the text window, and then you can see your history. So again, you can see there 21.5 seems like you know, that's a pretty good value for that measurement. So okay, so I'll say that's what it is, and it's really not far off. Luckily, it's just a fluke. It's not far off being 20 mil. So if I then scale that using the scale tool, okay, first it asks to select objects. I'll click on the border of the image to select it, and then enter to finish selecting. Now for the base point, if you click on the origin or type in 0,0, enter, and then the scale factor is going to be the size I want it to be over the size it is. Okay, so the size I want it to be is what we saw that measurement is measured as. In other words, 20 metres was what we saw on the scale, so 20,000 in millimetres. And then / 21.5 is what I want to type. I want that value, but AutoCAD won't accept decimals in a fraction. Okay, so all I need to do there, so I can use that number, is multiply them both by 10. So Yeah, so 200,000 for the first one would be... Exactly, that's right. I'll just say the other way around, what you want over what you have. Okay, so here I've just multiplied both by 10, so I can type in those numbers. So 200,000 over 215, enter, and then it never hurts to check that what you've done has worked. So again, I'll use distance to measure on that scale rule. So you can see there that's pretty close to 20 metres. It's just because I must have clicked slightly different points. Let's go from the centre here and see how close that can be. So, yeah. So well, I've gone from the edge. See how I went from the very edge on the left there? So I've gone to the edge of the line that I'm measuring to. But yeah, if I was measuring from the centre here, then I'd go to the centre over there. So, so you can see there again, 20, well, close enough to 20,000. And that's really the most important thing at first, that you have a scale or a starting size that's correct. And then I'll make a new layer for the inserted image, and why not call it that? Okay, so I've got my new layer there, which I suppose could have a different colour, and but most importantly, I'm going to lock, and that way I can change this object. And a bit of a trick there: when you select something like an image, it'll take you to a new tab, but you can always go back to the home tab and then change its layer there. So I can change that onto this layer, and now that won't move. If I try to do that, it'll prevent me from doing it. So there we are. It'll tell me. You can see there, when I went to move, one was on a lock layer. Okay, so then you should be able to trace off the image. So I'll make a new layer, and I'll call this, say, building outline, or footprint. Okay, so again, always good to give unique colours. That'll do. Just trying to pick something that'll stand out over the image. So orange is good, but pink and purple can be even better for that. So again, drawing just with the line tool. I'll just trace some lines now over my footprint. Fairly roughly. Just to prove to you, even though I haven't checked and I'm taking a bit of a risk that this will not be right, but I'm pretty sure once I compare this to the real survey, where a surveyor went out and measured points on the site, I'd be pretty sure this would be fairly close to that. Okay, so you'd want to be more accurate and really take your time. Think about which lines should be parallel and other things like that. But just so I've got something drawn that you can see, I'll finish that. And then I'm just going to compare them, copy with Control C, or you can use the clipboard panel and click the copy button. And then I'll just switch back to my other file, and then I'm going to paste that outline, and you can see there that's my building on the real site, and it's not far off the right size. So I can just give you an idea how accurate that method can be, and so you should really be able to get a good handle on the size of things. So remember, that building would have been rotated, but otherwise, the size is pretty good. And continue, so apart from the building outline, make sure you have the boundary established. That's really, really important on these drawings. So again, I'll just maybe make one last layer. And on the boundary. And so it's a bit of a standard green, seems to be the colour that gets used for layers like this. And there's a line type in AutoCAD called border. So here I'm just loading that line type in. Yeah, border. And it's a good line type for things like boundaries. Now, the line types need the scale to be set. So I'm just going to choose 1 to 100, will do for now. And now I'll draw a line facing where I'm going to have to guess for now where the boundary is, and you will as well if you don't have a survey. But use your judgment, you should be able to work it out. And so here again you can see the footpath, and that gives me a pretty good indication where the boundary would be. So tracing that around, just again trying to follow the edges that I can find. Okay, so the lines are coming in, but I can't see that line type that I've set. Zoom right in and you will see it. But I just wanted to show you with the line type options that you have. It's actually under line type here. When you go to other and then show details, you can check that you have this use paper space units for scaling. That should be on. Oh, sorry, maybe because no, that's right. Yeah, use that on. If that's not giving it to you, then just change the global scale factor to match the scale you're using for the time being. So 100. Use the scale I want, because that's what I've set down here. And then it'll tell you down here, line type regenerating model. If you type RE, that should do a regen, and that should come up now. Why didn't I? Did I set that here? Oh, I haven't set it to the layer. So here, finally, got to make sure it's actually set to the layer, and that was, I think, the main problem. Border. I always forget that. You've got to choose it again after you've loaded it. So again, to see the change, RE for regen, enter. Still not coming in. Let's just draw a line over here. Well, it's good for you to see this, because I'd be pretty sure, yeah, it's working, but there's something I've done in here. When I set the global scale factor, I think that's actually scaled it twice. So let's go regen again. There we are. That's border, and that's what your boundaries should look like. So, like I was saying before, all you should need to do is set the scale here, the global scale factor, which you have in your line type settings. You shouldn't need to change that, but it will scale your line types if nothing else works. But the main thing is this option, making sure that that's on. So anyhow, you can keep drawing the boundaries, hopefully in the same way. I won't draw it all for you, but just so you've got the idea, I'll continue on just a little bit more. So the boundary, of course, needs to go all the way around your site, and it should be a closed shape, essentially. So let's just say it goes through the middle here, and just join that together very roughly. Okay, so it should look something like that. Obviously got to close in the gap there. Again, going all the way around your footprint. Next, I'll just again save that file, and okay, so I'll just finish the recording there, unless there's any questions anyone's got about that part of it. No, okay, so I'll just finish that one.